First type is perfectionist procrastinator. This type doesn't wait because they're lazy. They wait because they're afraid. Afraid the result won't match the picture inside their head. You tell yourself you're waiting for the right moments, the right idea, the right plan, the right mood. Everything has to feel perfect before you begin. But perfection is a moving target. Every time you get close, the standard moves further away. A blank page feels safer than an imperfect one. An unfinished project cannot be judged. An idea inside your head still feels flawless. The moment you start, reality gets involved. Mistakes appear. Weaknesses become visible. And that's exactly what the perfectionist wants to avoid. Research shows perfectionism is often linked to fear of evaluation. Not high standards, fear. Because if the work isn't perfect, maybe people won't think you're capable. Maybe they'll think you aren't as talented as they believed. Or worse, as talented as you believed. So instead of risking imperfection, you postpone action. Ironically, the search for perfect results usually creates average ones. Because the greatest enemy of progress isn't bad work. It's work that never begins.
Second category is overwhelmed procrastinator. Sometimes the task isn't difficult, it just feels enormous. You open your laptop, look at everything you need to do, and your brain immediately shuts down. Not because you don't care, because it doesn't know where to begin. This is cognitive overload. Your brain can only process so much information at once. When a project looks too big, it stops looking like one task. It becomes 50 tasks. Write the report, do the research, find the sources, create the slides, double-check everything, meet the deadline. Suddenly, your brain isn't seeing a project, it's seeing a mountain, and mountains trigger stress. Stress narrows attention. Decision-making becomes harder. Your motivation drops. So instead of climbing, you walk away. This is why people often clean their room before studying, or reorganize their desk before working. They're not avoiding effort, they're avoiding uncertainty. The brain desperately wants something simple to complete, something with a clear beginning and a clear end. That's why productivity experts constantly recommend breaking large projects into tiny actions. Not because it sounds motivational, because it changes how the brain perceives the task. A mountain becomes one step, and one step feels survivable. Next one is fear of failure procrastinator. This type isn't avoiding the task, they're avoiding the verdict. Imagine applying for your dream job, starting a business, publishing your first video, writing your first book. As long as you never begin, failure remains imaginary. Your potential stays intact. No one can prove you aren't good enough, including yourself. This creates a dangerous illusion. Doing nothing feels safer than discovering your limits. Psychologists call this self-handicapping. People unconsciously create obstacles that protect their self-esteem. If you never truly try, then failure never becomes personal. You can always tell yourself, I could have succeeded if I really wanted to. It's a comforting story, but it's also a prison. Because confidence doesn't come before action, it comes after surviving failure. Every successful person carries proof that failure didn't destroy them. The fear of failure procrastinator never collects that proof. They stay trapped inside imagination, where failure always feels bigger than reality.
Next category is fear of success procrastinator. This one sounds impossible. Why would anyone fear success? Because success changes everything. Imagine getting promoted. Now people expect more from you. Imagine your business grows. Now more people depend on you. Imagine your videos suddenly reach millions. Now every upload carries pressure. Success isn't just achievement, it's my responsibility. For some people, that responsibility feels terrifying. Deep down, they aren't asking, what if I fail? They're asking, what if I succeed and can't handle what comes next? More visibility, more expectations, more pressure, less room for mistakes. Success can threaten your identity, especially if you've spent years seeing yourself as the underdog. Your brain prefers familiar identities, even painful ones, because familiarity feels safe. So instead of moving forward, you hesitate, you delay, you convince yourself you'll start later. Without realizing, you're protecting your current identity, not your future.
Next one is instant gratification procrastinator. Your brain loves rewards. The faster, the better. That's why checking your phone feels effortless. Scrolling social media feels effortless. Watching another episode feels effortless. Each one delivers a tiny burst of dopamine, a chemical linked to motivation and reward. The problem isn't dopamine itself. The problem is comparison. Your brain compares writing a report to watch short videos. One offers a reward in 3 weeks. The other offers one in 3 seconds. The winner is obvious. Modern technology has made this pattern even stronger. Every notification, every message, every recommendation, every endless feed competes for your attention. Not because you're weak, because your brain evolved for immediate rewards, not digital ones. Thousands of years ago, choosing the immediate reward often meant survival. Today, it means opening another app instead of finishing your work. The hardest part isn't resisting distraction. It's recognizing that every small distraction teaches your brain the same lesson. Discomfort can always be escaped. And the more often that lesson is repeated, the stronger the habit becomes. The task waits, the deadline moves closer, and your brain keeps choosing relief over progress. Because in the short term, relief always feels like the smarter choice, until it isn't. Coming up next, the decision paralysis procrastinator. Some people don't procrastinate because they fear work. They procrastinate because they fear the choice. Which career should I pick? Which business should I start? Which college should I choose? Which idea is the best one? At first, it feels responsible. You're researching, comparing, analyzing every possible outcome. But somewhere along the way, research quietly turns into avoidance. This is called analysis paralysis. When your brain is presented with too many options, it struggles to commit to any of them. Every choice means giving up another possibility, and that feels like a loss. So instead of choosing, you keep searching for the perfect answer, the perfect strategy, the perfect timing. But here's the problem. The longer you wait, the more information appears. More videos, more opinions, more experts, more conflicting advice. Instead of making the decision easier, it makes it harder. Eventually, your brain convinces you that more information will solve the problem. It rarely does, because uncertainty is not something you eliminate, it's something you learn to act through. Successful people aren't the ones who always make perfect decisions. They're the ones willing to make imperfect decisions and adjust along the way. Because clarity often comes after movement, not before it. Up next, we have the identity procrastinator. Sometimes the task isn't difficult, it just doesn't fit the story you tell yourself. Maybe you've always believed, I'm not a business person, I'm not creative, I'm terrible at public speaking, I'm just not disciplined. Over time, these statements stop feeling like opinions, they become identities. And once your identity is involved, your brain starts protecting it. Imagine someone who has always seen themselves as bad at math. Even if they want a better career, every opportunity involving numbers feels uncomfortable. Not because they're incapable, because succeeding would challenge a belief they've carried for years. The same happens with fitness, learning, leadership, money. Your identity becomes a filter. Anything that doesn't match it feels unnatural. So you delay, you avoid it, you find excuses that sound logical. But underneath those excuses is one quiet question. If I become this person, who does that make me now? Changing your life often requires changing the story you tell yourself first, because your brain would rather stay consistent than be correct. Coming up next, the burnout procrastinator. This type is often misunderstood, especially by themselves. You wake up exhausted. Simple tasks feel impossible. Even things you normally enjoy feel heavy. So you tell yourself, I'm just being lazy. But laziness and burnout are not the same thing. Laziness avoids effort because it doesn't want to spend energy. Burnout avoids effort because there is no energy left to spend. Your brain has been running under pressure for too long. Constant deadlines, constant notifications, constant expectations, constant decisions. Eventually, the system slows down, not as a weakness, as protection. Think about what happens when a phone overheats.
It automatically reduces performance to prevent damage. Your brain does something similar. Focus becomes harder. Motivation disappears. Even small tasks feel overwhelming. The mistake many people make is responding with more pressure, more guilt, more self-criticism. But guilt doesn't restore energy. It usually drains what's left. Sometimes procrastination isn't your mind refusing to work. It's your mind asking for recovery. And if you ignore that message long enough, recovery eventually becomes non-negotiable.
Next, we'll discuss the comfort zone procrastinator.
Change sounds exciting until it becomes real. Starting a new job, moving to another city, launching a business, learning a new skill. Every one of these promises growth, but they also promise uncertainty. And your brain has never been a fan of uncertainty. From an evolutionary perspective, familiar environments meant safety. Unknown environments could mean danger. That ancient wiring still exists, even though the risks have changed. So your brain quietly whispers, maybe tomorrow, maybe next month, maybe after you're more prepared. It sounds reasonable, it sounds responsible, but comfort has a strange way of becoming permanent. Every day spent avoiding discomfort teaches your brain the same lesson. Staying here keeps me safe. Weeks become months, months become years, and one day you realize your comfort zone became a cage. Not because it locked you inside, because it convinced you there was no reason to leave.
The next type is the meaningless task procrastinator.
Not every task feels important. Some feel empty, pointless, disconnected from anything you actually care about. Your brain notices that immediately. Human motivation isn't powered only by rewards, it's powered by meaning. When a task feels connected to your goals, your brain is willing to tolerate discomfort. When it feels meaningless, resistance grows. Think about how easily people spend hours learning a hobby they love, then struggle to spend 15 minutes on paperwork. The difficulty isn't always the task, it's the purpose behind it. This doesn't mean life only consists of meaningful work. Everyone has responsibilities they'd rather avoid. But the brain performs differently when it understands why something matters. Without that connection, every minute feels longer. Every distraction becomes more attractive. Every excuse feels more convincing. Sometimes procrastination isn't asking, "Can I do this?" It's asking, "Why should I?" And if you never answer that question, your motivation keeps disappearing. If you enjoyed this video and want to keep learning something new every day, there's plenty more waiting for you. Check out the videos on your screen right now. One of them might answer a question you didn't even know you had. And if you enjoy simple explanations about life, money, science, psychology, history, and everything in between, subscribe to Life Told Simple. Until next time, stay curious.